Luke. Theme, Christ the Man. Author is Luke. Date of writing is around 60 AD. Luke, who wrote the third Gospel and Acts, was known as our dear friend, the Doctor. He was a companion and fellow worker with Paul. Compare the introduction to Acts. This book, the longest of the Gospels, was written principally for the Greeks. Its emphasis is upon perfect humanity of Christ, whom it presents as the Son of Man, the human divine person, and whose genealogy it traces to Adam. Luke's narrative of the birth and infancy of the Lord is from the point of view of the Virgin Mother. He alone tells of Christ's boyhood and reveals more of his prayer life than the other synopsis. The parables found in this gospel show Christ's concern for lost humanity. In the account of certain miracles, the trained observation of a physician is evident. Luke is in many ways the gospel of compassion, stressing as it does the Lord's sympathy for the brokenhearted, the sick, the mistreated, and the bereaved. It also shows the ministry of women to Christ, along with its presentation of the Son of Man. The book emphasizes the worldwide scope of salvation. Luke alone records the parables of the lost sheep, the lost coin, the lost son, and the mission of the 72. The Gospel of Luke may be divided as follows: introduction, the birth, the baptism, genealogy, the temptation of Christ, the public ministry of the Son of Man, to the triumphal entry, the rejection of Christ and his death, Christ's resurrection, commission of the disciples, and ascension. Many have undertaken to draw up an account of the things that have been fulfilled among us, just as they were handed down to us by those who from the first were eyewitnesses and servants of the word. Therefore, since I myself have carefully investigated everything from the beginning, it seemed good also to me to write an orderly account for you, most excellent Philosus, so that you may know the certainty of the things you have been taught, the birth, baptism, genealogy, and temptation of Christ. John the Baptist, birth foretold. In the time of Herod, king of Judah, there was a priest named Zachariah, who belonged to the priestly division of Abba. His wife Elizabeth was also a descendant of Aaron. Both of them were upright in the sight of God, observing all the Lord's commandments and regulations blamelessly. But they had no children, because Elizabeth was barren, and they were both well along in years. Once when Zachariah's division was on duty, and he was serving as priest before God, he was chosen by Lot, according to the custom of the priesthood, to go into the temple of the Lord and burn incense. And when the time for the burning of incense came, all the assembled worshippers were praying outside. Then an angel of the Lord appeared to him, standing at the right side of the altar of incense. When Zachariah saw him, he, or being surely believed. In this formal preface, Luke is extremely careful to describe his method of researching and compiling material for his gospel. He stresses the corroboration of witnesses, scrupulous handling of truth, handed down and carefully investigated, comprehensive study, investigated everything from the beginning, all that Jesus began to do, correspondence, of written material with divine purpose and activities. The presence of inspiration, certainty, orderly presentation, draw up an account, orderly account. Such human care does not in the least lessen the role of the Spirit in directing the writer for the origin and certainty of prophecy. Both the 1917 Scofield Reference Bible and the 1967 New Scofield Reference Bible point out that the phrase in verse 3, from the beginning, is from the Greek another, which can mean up, upward, or above, which is translated elsewhere in some cases by from above or similar phrase, where is translated for a long time. Accordingly to this view, Luke's use of an is an affirmation that his knowledge of these things derived from those who had been eyewitnesses from the beginning, was confirmed by revelation. In like manner, Paul had doubtless heard from the 11 the story of the institution of the Lord's Supper, but he also had it by revelation from the Lord, and his writing, like Luke's knowledge, thus became firsthand and not simply traditional.